Good evening. Tonight, Hungary stands at a crossroads, shaking the foundations of the European Union. On November 15, 2025, Budapest accepted an invitation to join BRICS, a bloc led by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, now expanding its reach. This is more than a headline. It's a direct challenge to the post-Cold War order. For the first time, an EU and NATO member is joining a bloc seen as a counterweight to the West. Is this a masterstroke of sovereign policy or a reckless gamble that could isolate Hungary and fracture Western unity? We'll explore what this means for Hungary, the EU, and the world. Can a nation truly belong to both camps, upholding EU values while aligning with autocratic powers? Critics warn of a new Iron Curtain, one of political and economic division. Join us as we unpack this pivotal moment, one that could shift Europe's center of gravity eastward. To understand Hungary's move, we must look to its past, a nation shaped by centuries of foreign domination and a fierce desire for sovereignty. The trauma of the Treaty of Trianon and the crushed 1956 revolution against Soviet rule still echo today. These events forged a national identity wary of outside control and skeptical of Western promises. After the Berlin Wall fell, Hungary embraced NATO and the EU, but tensions soon emerged. Since 2010, Viktor Orbán has clashed with Brussels over democracy and the rule of law, positioning himself as a defender of national sovereignty. Orbán's Eastern opening policy reframes alignment with Russia and China as pragmatic, not betrayal. EU membership, he argues, comes with too many strings attached. From migration to energy, Hungary has often stood alone in the EU. Joining BRICS is presented as the next logical step, a diversification of alliances, born from a history of keeping options open. For Orbán, it's about reclaiming agency in a multipolar world. What is BRICS? Originally an investment term, it's now a geopolitical coalition. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, pushing for a multipolar world. The bloc has created its own financial institutions, like the New Development Bank, as alternatives to Western-led bodies. BRICS nations are diverse, but united in seeking greater influence and challenging Western dominance. They represent over 40% of the world's population and a growing share of global GDP. Recent expansion, adding countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, signals new ambition. For many in the global south, BRICS offers development without Western political conditions. Hungary's entry is a symbolic coup, the first EU member to join, bridging or dividing two worldviews. For China and Russia, it's proof their vision of a multipolar world is gaining ground. The West's unity is now visibly cracked. On November 15, 2025, Hungary made it official. It's joining BRICS. Foreign Minister Szijjártó declared Hungary a bridge between East and West, framing the move as a sovereign decision for national interests. The groundwork was years in the making. Orbán's visits to Beijing and Moscow, and Hungary's observer status at BRICS meetings. Domestically, the pivot was sold as economic necessity. Brussels responded with grave concern, warning of threats to EU unity. Washington called the move deeply troubling, questioning Hungary's loyalty as a NATO ally. Neighbors like Poland and the Czech Republic voiced alarm, fearing a breach in the region's united front. In contrast, BRICS capitals welcomed Hungary as visionary, praising its independent foreign policy. For Russia and China, Hungary's move is validation that the Western-led order is fraying. Hungary's gamble is economic at its core. The government argues that BRICS membership opens access to vast new markets, investment, and technology, essential for future prosperity. Chinese investment is already transforming Hungary's industries, especially in electric vehicles and batteries. As a BRICS member, Hungary could become a gateway for Asian companies into Europe and tap into new development financing. But the risks are huge. 75% of Hungary's exports go to the EU. If Brussels retaliates with trade barriers, Hungary's economy could suffer. Critics warn of overdependence on China and the risk of debt-trap diplomacy. Integrating with BRICS could force Hungary to lower standards on labor, environment, and governance, clashing with EU rules. The economic tightrope is real, and the stakes are high. Politically, Hungary's BRICS move is a crisis for the EU and NATO. The EU is more than a market, it's a community of values. Hungary's alignment with autocratic states is seen as a repudiation of those values. Hungary could now block EU foreign policy, acting as a Trojan horse for Russian and Chinese interests. NATO faces a trust crisis. Can an ally in BRICS be trusted with sensitive intelligence? Hungary risks isolation, frozen EU funds, and even suspension of voting rights. Orbán is betting the EU won't go that far, hoping to leverage his spoiler role for concessions. But the political fallout could leave Hungary friendless in the West. It's a high-stakes game with Hungary's place in Europe on the line. Experts are divided on Hungary's pivot. Dr. Alina Polyakova calls it the biggest challenge to European unity since Brexit. Hungary is trying to belong to two rival clubs at once, a move she says is untenable. The EU's response will define its global role for decades. Dr. Xiang Lan, a BRICS economist, sees Hungary's move as pragmatic. Europe is declining, Asia is rising, and Hungary is securing its future. He argues BRICS is not anti-Western, but post-Western, aiming for a more balanced global system. Legally, Professor Laurent Pech notes Hungary may be violating the EU's duty of sincere cooperation, but there's no explicit ban on joining other blocs. The EU's main weapon is financial pressure, not legal action. Historian Dr. István Dijk warns that Hungary's history of playing great powers against each other often ends in disaster. By trying to be everyone's friend, Hungary risks becoming no one's trusted partner. The lesson: when small nations dance with bears, it's the bear that decides when the music stops. Hungary's gamble could leave it isolated, or reshape Europe. On the streets of Budapest, the decision has split the nation. Government supporters see BRICS as a path to sovereignty and new opportunities, finally standing up to Brussels. State media touts economic potential, fueling national pride and a sense of historical grievance. In rural areas and among older generations, Orbán is hailed as a defender of Hungary's future. But in urban centers, especially among the young, the mood is bleak. Many feel their European identity is under threat, fearing lost opportunities and growing isolation. Protests erupt, with demonstrators waving EU flags and chanting, "We belong to Europe." For them, BRICS membership cements Hungary's illiberal turn and risks pariah status. The dream of 1989, a free, democratic Hungary anchored in the West, feels under siege. The nation is at a crossroads, deeply divided over its future. The path Hungary chooses will shape generations to come. Hungary's BRICS decision is the result of history and strategy, not a sudden shift. It's celebrated by some as a bold assertion of sovereignty, condemned by others as a dangerous gamble. The move brings economic opportunity and immense risk. It shakes the foundations of the EU and NATO, forcing a reckoning from within. The world is no longer unipolar. Hungary is testing if a nation can belong to two rival camps. The consequences will echo for generations, across Europe and beyond. This moment forces us to reconsider alliances, sovereignty, and the global order. Hungary has placed its bet. Now the world watches. The story is far from over. Thank you for watching. Good night from London.